Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Chris Williams.
Welcome to New Life Live. We are so glad that you're joining us today. As Terry said in the intro, Chris Williams, marriage and family therapist. Will be joining us soon as Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, also licensed marriage and family therapist. And then we have our psychologist in residence, Dr. Alice Benton. Alice, how you doing today?
Hey, Chris, doing great. Having a good morning. How about you?
I'm having a great morning. And as usual, I want to hear what's on your mind.
Well, I'm also challenged this morning.
Okay.
I've been reading a book, Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, and he is on the speaking routes lately, talking about parenting, screen use, and how we can best teach our children how to balance out being on screen and being off screen. So he left me with a couple questions today that I really have to crunch on. Are we parents allowing our children to take enough risks, including physical risks? Do we allow them to make mistakes? And do we allow them to stay with frustration long enough off screen? Or do we jump in and rescue them? I'm a little too quick to rescue my kids when I can easily help them with something that they're struggling with. But he points out how much we learn through trial and error, and allowing our kids to be frustrated, of course, grows their frustration tolerance, increases their courage so that they can come to believe, I can handle problems, I can figure them out. So we've turned into parents who are overprotective of our children off screen. Physically, we're overprotective of them. We don't even tend to let them go out and play alone, unsupervised, as much as past generations have done. But we are we're underprotective of them, opposite, on screen.
Yeah.
We give them too much freedom. And the on-screen environment is actually a higher risk environment in a lot of ways, especially with public shaming, loss of friendship, sudden unfriending, and the sexual predators that are very active on screen. So we flipped where our children need to be protected and how much they need to be protected.
Yeah, and there's the screen world as well is one of unreality, as well as one that has a lot of explicit material on it that can be accessed in a lot of different ways. So, I mean, Alice, you bring up a phenomenal point. Overprotective in the real world and underprotected in the fake world.
That's right.
That actually doesn't make any sense that we're doing it, but we're doing it.
And we are allowing our children great freedom on screen during a really sensitive time period, which is puberty. And when our kids are exposed to these high social risks, but they're disembodied and they're asynchronous. And so when there's failure online, it's immense, it's shaming, it's very difficult for kids and adults to tolerate.
Yes. Yeah.
So protecting our children, especially from social media, it's something we really need to be doing up to 15 years old.
Yeah.
But most kids are getting access around 13.
Well, and the evidence and the research is so crystal clear that exposure to social media early on increases anxiety and depression in our youth.
That's right.
And so it's like we're feeding them their own mental illness.
Whereas we need to be letting them loose or looser outside with peers where they can have eye-to-eye contact, where it's embodied experience, and the risks of the bruises, of the cuts, of the struggles are lower, but more powerful, more beneficial.
Well, that's encouraging, because I'm not saying we're good at it yet, but there's two things that we've been working on in our home, and that is staying in the struggle and getting bored.
Boredom brings out a better version of our kids.
I mean,
our
schedules are so packed. The screens are so packed. The stimuli is all the time. And I'm just like, whoa, we got to learn how to be bored. Mostly, we got to learn how to be with ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Alice, thank you so much for that. We would love to talk to you. We're going to be in studio for a couple programs. So give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Again, that's 1-800-229-3000. Whatever you're struggling with, let us help you. We'll be back right after this.
Some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal, they're just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The Every Man's Battle Intensive can help.
After 7 years, he just, in one weekend, came back a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
He said this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle Workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, August 10th. Don't wait for him to call. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Again, Chris Williams, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, Dr. Alice Benton, and hopefully you, if you are struggling with a relationship issue, maybe it's an addiction issue or a mental emotional issue, give us a call today. We would love to guide you, talk with you, and lead you to some life-giving solutions. Right now, we're going to go to Carol in Tulsa, Oklahoma, listening on KCFO. Carol, glad you're with us today. Glad you're with us today. Talk to us. What's going on?
Well, I've had this problem, I guess more since I've been older here. I get this feeling of calm and solace when I see big-breast women. I'm not talking about nude pornography.
Yeah.
I feel guilty. It just makes me feel calm. I think it's because it's something that happened when I was a child. My mother had big breasts. She was 36, 26, 36, except she didn't want to hug me until I got into puberty, and I was sinful. And I told her no. I said, why haven't you been hugging me all along? I think it's because my daddy left mother because she wanted a boy. Mother gave him 3 boys. And so I think she was just staying on daddy's side by not hugging me because daddy was, not doing, had rejected me. And, I wanted a daddy. He left. And I do remember sitting on the floor when I was quite young before he left, and he had me looking at some women. And he wanted me to enjoy what he was looking at.
Was it like? Were the women like in magazines? Like what was the context?
I think it seemed like it was on television or something.
Okay.
But I like I said, it was a long time ago. I don't even remember what they looked like. All I remember is he thought they looked really great, and he wanted me to go hubby hubba wow wow or whatever. I mean, I just know he was really trying to get me to get into what he was doing.
Yeah.
Looking at him. And I think because he wanted me to be a boy, and I guess, I don't know, it was crazy, It was really silly.
He's trying to bond with you in this really, really strange way. So, Carol, your mom wouldn't hug you or show that deep physical affection with you until you're in puberty. And your dad, your dad left early, but some of the early memories you have of him were sitting with him watching, large-breasted women on television. Would that be correct?
Well, actually, it was just he and I.
Yeah.
And so.
And Carol, this upsets you today as an adult. I think what you're describing is that you feel strange that this is comforting to you, and it might feel like something is off or wrong about you. And I wonder I wonder how it shows up in your behavior. Like, do you ever avoid going outside? Do you avoid telling people or getting close to people because you think this is strange about you?
Well, I am keep to myself, but however. Nobody knows. I just try not to look at them, but they're everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm in a facility, and they seem to hire a lot of big ones, and so I just feel odd. I mean, I know I'm not a homosexual. I mean, it's just I have 5 children. I've nursed 4 of them, and but I don't know.
Carol, what's your question?
Get high, and I don't feel like I'm right.
So something feels off about this. What's your question for us today? How can we help you with it?
How can you help me? That's my
Okay, yeah, that's a great question.
I thought somebody. I had called in before about things, and you said you had a book.
Well, let's do this. Let's talk through this really quickly. So, Jacqui, what do you think?
What I think I heard you say, Carol, is that you have a sense of calm that comes over you. And so what it's making me think of is nursing and comfort. And sometimes we're not aware of having moments of comfort in our life. And so and sometimes we are. And so I wonder if maybe being held by a woman was a comfort to you. Do you have any memories of receiving comfort as a child?
Well, no, not as a child. I had a girlfriend, in junior high school, and she was a hugger. And so, whenever she kind of dropped me, which I heard that she did to several people, I cried every night for a year.
Yeah.
But
So,
prior to that friendship ending, when she would hug you, you would feel comforted?
When she would hug me, I would feel comfortable, and I felt, really well. And I really, another thing is, I was afraid to really like anybody again because I was afraid of being dropped.
You're afraid of being abandoned again. It sounds like you've had a bit of that in your life. Your mom wasn't close to you until you got to puberty. What was your relationship with her like post-puberty?
Well, my dad and mom were both slappers. My mother called me her little idiot because I have a dyslexia and I was hyper, and spent 2 years in second grade. So I was.
And you said they were slappers.
Yeah.
So they would slap you. They would hit you.
They would slap me if I said something they didn't like.
Okay.
And a lot of times I wasn't sure what.
So
what
Carol,
it was.
let me jump in here. So you're growing up in an environment. You're living with people who are painful and scary. And part of the pain is a bunch of different things, right? Is that you are being left by dad. So you are so that tells a little girl that she's rejectable. Your mom is using words like idiot and using physical harm against you, not understanding that you're having a legitimate struggle. And so this comes into a belief about yourself, right? As a little girl, what did as a little girl, what did Carol believe about Carol?
Well, that she's not too wantable. Not very desirable.
Not
for
too
people.
Yeah.
Carol, you have a deficit in being soothed. And so as odd as it might seem that you have an attraction to this body type and you've questioned it, it actually makes a lot of sense because that body type is a symbol for you of safety. And you need safety. And when you said, no one knows, I had 2 thoughts. One was, how lonely that no one knows something that's been on your mind for a lifetime. And you've had questions about it. You don't know quite what it means. But the other thought was, how brave that Carol is calling to check with us when nobody else knows this about her. So Carol, our odd attractions and inclinations that we all have, those kinds of eccentricities, they're very meaningful. And there is a sub-layer to all of them. It's developed because we had a need that was not fully met in childhood. And so now your body, your soul are trying to figure out, how do I get this need met in adulthood? Well, that body type somehow fulfills that need for me a little bit, but it does it on a superficial surface level. And the better answer, God's better answer to it is we need more people to know what's happening in our heads and in our hearts. We need safe, trustworthy people to know. And apparently we're trustworthy enough that you'd reveal it to us. And it's in the continuing revelation in relationship that then we start to receive the deeper level of comfort that's more sustaining than just a body type that gives us a hit of comfort when we see it, but it doesn't result in deeper relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that would also explain why there's so much fear around like the loss. It really broke your heart when that 13-year-old friend dropped you, as you then found out she'd done with others. So you've talked to other people, you've had other relationships, but maybe not the depth of relationship that you truly need, that you yearn for. And I think while it might seem a little bizarre to you to have this sense of comfort from this body type, it strikes me as a nurturing person in that like we hold the image of mom in that way. I think of when my youngest was really little, I had a friend that like sometimes I wouldn't even let her hold her. I'm like, no, she just woke up. Because if she picked her up and sat down with her, she was going to go to sleep. That's just what it was. And to this day, they're still close, and she still is a comfort to her. But I mean, literally every time she picked my baby up, my baby would lay on her chest and fall asleep.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just like Alice said, there is a part of you that needs that nurturing and comfort. And as you don't have anyone else in your life that you could share this with, it seems as though you don't have anyone else in your life that really can comfort you and nurture you in the way you really need.
And that's the thing that I think we forget is that you said it well, the deficit, Alice, and the need to be comforted. And when we are in distress, when we are in pain, and when we're in vulnerable states, especially as children, we need someone to be there for us. We need a face looking back at us that we're looking for. We need a person to embrace us, to hold us, to protect us. And so, but when people become scary, objects become safe. And that's the association we make. This is actually very akin to what happens with early onsets of pornography abuse, is that people became scary, but objects became safe. And so what's happened is this body type, large breasts become this association of safety and comfort. Not in a way that is necessarily even sexualized at all. It's just a way that says that I think you said it well, Jacqui, my loneliness. We're not designed for loneliness. In my distress, we're not supposed to carry distress for too long. And we, as you said, Alice, need other people.
And Carol, as you said, I'm not a homosexual. The fact that you're even questioning that's also been on your mind. I think the enemy loves to sexualize the problems that we go through, because sexual comfort, it works. In the short term, it works really well. But he wants to sexualize something that is not a sexual need. It's a relational need.
Yeah. And I understand a little bit too of why you wouldn't share it with anyone, because often we take that same route that the enemy does, and you bring that up and the first thing someone says is, oh, you must like women, and that's not what you're saying. Right. You're feeling uncomfortable with this sense of calm and peace that comes over you at the sight of someone with large breasts, but you're not desiring them. And so there's a difference, and you're not being able to connect with people to share this with, I think will just make that problem look like it's a much scarier problem. If you maybe connected with a group, if you had a safe couple of women in your life that you could be open and honest with, that maybe you guys share things back and forth, it might not seem as vulnerable to share this with them. Have you ever had any friendships like that, Carol?
Well, my problem is I don't have any car to go anywhere. It's another story how I got wound up in losing everything I had.
Well, Carol, I actually have a solution for you. Okay, next month, it's a month away, and we're going to send you a resource before that. But we're going to have the Emotional Freedom Workshop. And the Emotional Freedom Workshop is designed specifically for you. It's that when we find ourselves in and maybe it's an embarrassing or shame-driven, stuck situation that we can't figure out, a painful situation that we can't figure out, we go into the Emotional Freedom Workshop and we're able to see it very clearly for what it is and also for what it's not.
And it's online, no car needed, Carol, so we can get you there.
So it's going to be September 14th. And right now, I'm just going to scholarship you. It sounds like you're in a tough situation. So we're going to give you a scholarship to the Emotional Freedom Workshop. We're going to send you the Emotional Freedom Workbook. And Carol, you will experience breakthrough here, because you're going to get really, really helpful information. But more importantly than that, you're going to find that community that you long for and that you absolutely need, and relief from that shame. We thank you so much for calling in, Carol, and we wish you very, very well, and we can't wait to see you on September 14th in the Emotional Freedom Workshop. Thank you so much for calling in, and we'll be back right after this.
When you give to the New Life Scholarship Fund, you're giving someone hope for a brighter future.
I was kind of in the closet and hid with my struggle. Your donation really made the difference, especially in my situation, because I would up getting laid off from my job.
At the New Life Intensives, hurting people are able to begin a new path towards healing and freedom that has an effect on all of those around them.
I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. You know, I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. Their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To help hurting people to connect to the help they need, make your gift to the Scholarship Fund at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and specifying scholarships.
Someone called and sponsored me to come this weekend. Whoever that is, just know that you saved a life. Literally, you saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Dr. Heidi Summers on coaching.
A lot of people don't understand the difference between counseling and coaching. Coaches can help you with strategizing. Not everyone is in a crisis or recovering from a trauma. A lot of people just need help getting to where they want to be, and they don't know how to do that. And so it's helpful to have a third party come in to give objective feedback, set goals, create accountability, and help you walk out what your goals actually are.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been screened and certified with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches are intended to help you live in the present and goal set toward what it is you want for the future.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a New Life coach today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. So glad that you guys are with us today. Again, Chris Williams, Dr. Alice Benton, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, and we were just talking about our need for deeper connection and our need for healing and the proper ways of comfort as we develop in life, as we mature, as we grow up. And sometimes we get stuck at earlier phases. And sometimes we just get stuck in life. Yeah. So, Jacqui, how does the Emotional Freedom Workshop help people in this process to find the true emotional freedom or breakthrough or healing that they need?
I think it's kind of surprising for people when they are sitting there. One, there's so many people. Mm-hmm. And so just that you're not alone. Yeah. And then you're hearing information that for a lot of people is brand new. They never knew these things. And when you get this new information and have an aha moment, sometimes that in of itself starts the freedom. Just knowing something new, because so many of us are stuck in our own information silos. Yes. That what we don't know, we'll never know. Because no one's going to tell us something new. And so I think that the Emotional Freedom Workshop is really good for that, just teaching you new information. But then there's these breakout groups and you get to get a little more intimate with people and hear a little of their story and hear how much you really aren't alone and just what other people are going through, and get to share your own story with people who are safe and who care about you. And that can go on beyond the Emotional Freedom Workshop. And so I think there's that piece of education that people get, and then also the connections that they get to make. And just the energy of being in a group of people who are also saying, I need emotional freedom.
Yeah.
It leads people out of the no one knows phase that Carol has been living in her entire life. And we all have some of that. No one knows this embarrassing, scary, weird thing about me. But those are the kind of secrets that hold us back and generate anxiety and depression. And they keep us from risking relationship. Because if you knew my thing, you wouldn't like me. The truth we find out at Emotional Freedom is we all have our things. And actually, people are much more willing to accept it, especially people who are also seeking recovery. And those are the folks that show up at Emotional Freedom.
Yeah, that's really good. And, because the things that are damaged to us in the darkness can only be healed in the light. But the problem is we're terrified of it. We're terrified of that exposure. And you said it well, Alice, that we feel weird. We feel strange, and the shame that comes along with that. And if this were to be revealed, then my greatest fears would be realized, and that you would judge me and reject me, and you would think me as weird as I think of myself.
And we've been conditioned to believe that many of us have grown up with rules around sharing information from inside the house.
Yeah.
And so we've been trained to keep secrets.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is that we've learned, some of us, that it's those secrets are the things that were harming us the most.
Yeah.
And so even now in 2024, when I hear someone say to a child, don't you tell anyone, that's our secret.
Yeah.
I have zero tolerance. Like, I don't have a filter. Like, I just, wherever I am, whenever it happens, and I know that that's my own stuff. And because it's the secrets that keeps the trauma continuing. And so now we have all these people with complex trauma because they spent their lives in such
holding and just
all
piling
of this terrible
on
stuff and not ever getting the help they needed, because they wouldn't talk about it. And that could be something like a learning disability, like she talked about.
Yeah.
So many people that I knew when I was raising my children would not allow their children to be tested because they don't want that stigma. That's something I still run into with clients today and people of color, and working in certain communities where they're very afraid of what will happen to them if people know their weaknesses.
You don't air your dirty laundry in public. There actually is some truth to that, because you shouldn't do it just anywhere. But what we do is we create the structured, protective environment where you do bring the dirty laundry out and you find out we all have it, but you do it in the right way.
Yeah, because it's not helpful to post it on social media.
No, it's not.
No, let's not do that. Yeah.
Some of the most redemptive moments I personally have experienced was when I was in a group and I revealed my shameful sins, my mistakes, my eccentricities, and I was accepted and loved anyhow. And then I was able to grow out of those shameful sins.
That's exactly it. I'll never forget sitting in front of my sponsor in my early recovery, and we're going through all of this really, really sordid history. And I told him this. I said, I would rather go to the grave than tell another person this information. And you know what his reply to me was? If you don't tell another person, it will lead you to the grave. And he was spot on.
Yeah, that's a gut punch, right?
Right. And it was so, and I just discovered the truth of that we are not designed to hold our hurts and our pains and our struggles inside of us. So if this is you, please sign up today. Don't waste any time. The Emotional Freedom Workshop online, September 14th. You can go to newlife.com/events, and you can find out how to sign up and get registered and begin that process. Also, obviously, we have tons and tons of different resources. There's another way that you can be a part of our program that we would love for you to be a part of. And that is, if you're not able to listen to our show live or call in for any reason, you can write in a question. And so if you have something on your mind you want us to address, write it in. So you can go to newlife.com/radio, and it will show you how to submit a write-in question. And hopefully we'll be able to get to one of those during our program today. Again, we thank you so much for being with us, but let us help you. That is why we're here. And so give us a call, 1-800-229-3000, and we would love to connect with you and help you work through one of these issues. Thank you. We'll be back right after this.
I'm addicted to oxycodone. I've been on oxycodone almost 3 years.
Addiction affects millions of people every year.
I've been on it for a long time, and I need to get off.
New Life can connect you with some of the finest Christian inpatient treatment programs in the country that work with people from all backgrounds and beliefs.
First, it was for back pain, and I was on it for a long time. And then I currently just had shoulder surgery.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction to illegal or prescription drugs, alcohol, or dealing with an eating disorder, it's time to seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers all around the country.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or visit us online at newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. So glad that you're with us today. One of the ways in which you can be a part of what we do is Club New Life. And it is just a great, great program that allows you to be a monthly contributor to us, but we also want to involve you deeply in what we do as well. But I want to just share a quick testimony from a Club New Life member. Says, I wanted to let you know that I found New Life Live after listening to Steve Arterburn on another podcast. I was going through some big struggles in my marriage because my husband had been recently diagnosed with bipolar 2, which causes so much heartache and trials. And finding a podcast with Christian counselors was a true godsend at a point in my life and marriage where I truly needed it. I joined Club New Life a few months ago after I began listening, and it was the best decision I ever made. I've since ordered several books and resources to help myself and some of my family members. Also, my marriage is in a better place. And I will be a loyal listener and supporter as long as I live. I listen to each and every show and pray for many of the callers. And thank you so, so much for doing that. If you want to be a part of the life-giving connections that you will experience and resources experienced that we have here at New Life, join today, newlife.com/CNL for Club New Life, and we would love for you to be a Club New Life member. And with that, we're going to go to the phones. We're going to go to Joanne in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Joanne, talk to us. How are you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in. It's been quite the season, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but probably for a decade I lived in trauma in my marriage. I clean slated and forgave him because he seemed to be truly remorseful. We had another child, and then he went right back to his ways, even worse than ever.
And Joanne,
I truly think... Go ahead.
There's actually quite a bit of background noise. Is there a way to eliminate some of that?
Sure.
That'd be great. That way we can hear you a little bit better.
I am so sorry.
Oh, no, that's perfect. That's great. So, but I want to ask, you said he went back to his ways. What are his ways?
His ways are just deceit and manipulation. Everything is making you feel crazy, making you feel like you deserve what he's doing, or like you're remembering things wrong.
You said you clean slated, Joanne. You said you clean slated him. What was on his slate specifically?
I found a bunch of apps and websites, and Flirt Chat, Naughty, and Tinder, and SeekingArrangements.com, and all this stuff.
So a lot of infidelity.
A lot of infidelity, but also he threatened me for my life many times.
Wow.
And no body, no crime, and a cocky smirk and a wink. And he's highly intelligent and gets away with everything because he's just charming. He can wear the mask really well and be what...
This is severe, Joanne. Severe. Life and death. Yes. Are you still married?
But he has my kids now because I left and got a PFA, and the kids were protected from the PFA. But I knew. I tried to tell everybody. Everybody shamed me for staying. But as a mom, I knew that I would feel like I abandoned them to it. And I told everyone I know how he operates. And in just a few short weeks it took him. He was only seeing them 9 hours a week supervised. And I started to see severe changes in my oldest first. And it's because of the PFA hearing. I said that she was afraid of him because she was. And he worked on her. He went all in on her. And my son, the 10-year-old, so she's 12. My son, the 10-year-old, was still not being manipulated, but it's because he went all in on Lila. And I told friends and relatives of mine, wait, he's gonna change the way.
Yeah. So
he'll make sure that he takes him fishing, and that's exactly what he's
for sure. So
the oldest.
So Joanne, for time's sake, let me jump in. So you have been married to a very dangerous person.
I know, but I have to prove it.
I know. So, but let me ask you this question: how can we help you? How can we guide you today? What do you need?
Pray for my kids.
Okay.
Pray for them. Just pray for them.
Who are the people?
They're hurting, and I don't know how to help.
Who are the people in your life right now who are supporting you?
My sister.
Okay. Is there any?
I do have some friends, but some people in my family, unfortunately, are not the best. They are. When you take someone who's been through trauma and I try to talk to my mom and my older brother. They turn it into them. They minimize what I'm going through, or they basically treat me the same way he did.
Yeah. So
that might be why it was so easy for Joanne. It might be that you grew up in a family with people that are similar to him, which is why he looked attractive.
Have tendencies.
Yeah.
Yes, but you know what? They also do show remorse. I think they have tendencies that he has. He is far.
Yeah.
The only time he shows remorse is fake remorse to reel you back in and gain power and control.
Well, and it sounds like he is on that severe side of the narcissism scale. Yeah.
Joanne, are you getting professional counseling, and do you have a good attorney?
I am getting counseling, but I feel like it's actually keeping me a victim more because it's just talking about it and fixating on it. And I don't want to be a victim, right? We're overcomers by the blood of Jesus.
So you need more direction and action steps empowering you of what you can do about this. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
And I switched lawyers, and I've already spent $8,000 on a new lawyer, and I haven't even gone to court once because he wouldn't go for a psych eval for the longest time. Now he finally got one done the end of June.
Well, Joanne, let us give you some guidance here, okay? So part of the incredible distress you're in is wanting to get all of this information out. And I think we got a really good, and that makes sense, but we got a really good picture because we want to be able to give you some really good guidance here. And
Thank you.
And so one of the things that I just want to jump in with is that you need a strong advocacy voice. And sometimes we aren't able to find that in ourselves because it's been taken away. And so yes. And so as we're recovering our strong advocacy voice, because a lot of times when in these situations we say, okay, lawyer, you take over and you do it all. Okay, therapist, you take over and do it all. Where we need to say, hey, this is what I need done. We need a strong assertiveness and to gain our power back.
And Joanne, you said you're in therapy, but you feel like it's making you more of a victim because all you're really doing is talking about everything that happened. And so in therapy, oftentimes we're telling our story so that we can realize it, so that we can get an understanding of what has happened. Do you feel like you have done that? Do you feel like you've shared the fullness of your story?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So
and
step
does validate it, but
so the next step is I want to talk about how I can create the story that I want going forward. And so that we can start planning. And so share that with your therapist. And then if that's not working, you might need to look at some other type of work. Have you done any trauma work like EMDR?
It's a trauma therapist, but she doesn't really go over specifics. And I don't know if it's because she feels like I need to purge, but I've told her that before, that I need to focus more on actual techniques.
Yeah.
So, Joanne, if you're not getting that enough then, and you've asked several times already, then we can connect you with our network of counselors, because perhaps you need a different clinician. Okay.
Or maybe you need to add a coach to what you're doing. Good idea. And have a place to walk through the therapeutic aspects of it, but also somebody to walk alongside of you step by step in the actual changing of your life.
Yeah, because Joanne, you're on the right track. What I hear underneath all of this is you don't want fear to keep driving your bus. Yeah. And that is, I know, but hear me out. That is the fuel that your ex-husband or your soon-to-be ex-husband is using. And so you're right. You changed lawyers, you can change therapists. This is part of the advocacy and part of that strength.
Right.
And the strength of the Lord that is in you, the strength of the Lord of the people around you. And that's why you want to find strong, safe people. We're going to send you a copy of Intimate Deception, Healing the Wounds of Sexual Betrayal. I also want to encourage you, it's not for a few months, but Restore Workshop on November 1st in Washington, D.C. is a great place where you're going to find tons of strength in the situation that you're in. Joanne, thank you so much for calling in, and we'll be back right after this.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022, That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Again, we're glad you're with us. We would love to talk to you. We have some lines open, and you can give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to be in studio for the rest of this program and for a follow-up program. So we're going to be here a while. So give us a call again, 1-800-229-3000. And now we're going to go to Mark, who is a Club New Life member listening in Dallas, Texas on our YouTube station. So love our YouTubers. Mark, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, Mark. Great to talk with you. Tell us what's going on today.
Well, first, I want to echo what y'all just played, the 2022 being a difficult year and Club New Life being there and walking someone through a difficult year. It's the same story for me. And it's been about 2 years for you guys, and y'all have helped me more than you know.
Oh, that's so good to hear, man.
But I want to give you guys a quick rundown of the situation. I've listened every day, so I know how you guys do this. So my situation is I have 3 children, 26, 21, both daughters, and a 17-year-old son. My 26-year-old has a 5-year-old granddaughter. That child came from a first marriage when I was young. I was lost in drugs, and it was a mess. And we divorced very, very early. So my relationship with my daughter has not lived in my home for the majority of her entire life.
That's your 26-year-old?
Yes, that's my 26-year-old. My now 21 and 17-year-old, I was remarried in 2001. And we lived the church life, and my life was dedicated to the Lord. I was born again in 1998, and then the divorce from my first marriage happened. I was remarried in 2001, have the children. We lived that life, but in 2018, a quick implosion and divorce when my daughter was 15 and my son was 12.
Oh, wow.
Devastating, ongoing trauma, continual, multiple that I've learned about. Lots of infighting, continual after the divorce. Very unhealthy 6 years, and me and all 3 of my children are very estranged. I was remarried in 2021. In 2022, at the end of 2022, a very difficult year, I ended up in inpatient treatment. Through that time is when I found New Life, and I've been walking this journey of healing and committed to it for a long time. This week, this is the crux of my question. This week, I was informed that during my hospitalization time, my ex-wife, that's the mother of my middle children, told my current wife that I had had an affair with someone that I worked with when I worked with a company while we were married, and that I had an affair with my oldest daughter's mother, which led to that divorce. I have never heard this. And it was an absolute attack on the character of who I am and who my wife knows me to be.
Mark, did your wife believe the false accusation?
It shocked. At the time I was in the hospital, she had not spoken with my ex-wife very much at all because my ex-wife is very volatile.
Okay, and what were you in the hospital for?
I was to the point of a breakdown.
Okay.
The years of it.
So mental health issues.
Yes, that's what it was. I
Yeah.
was to the point of that. Adult ADHD, what is it? ADHD, hyperactive.
Okay.
I realized I've had that for a long time. And again, I also want to throw in, because of those years of doing a lot of drugs in my younger years, in my early 20s and such, I know it had an effect on me that it magnified it, and it carries with me to today. So I've learned about that too.
Mark, your honesty is so helpful to us. What's the state now with your wife, and how can we help you as it pertains to those accusations?
It's my wife now knows. She has 100% security. She knows who I am. She knows how I live and what I believe, and always have. She knows that. It's the devastation that I just know my children have been so poisoned.
Yeah.
Because if that's being said to my current wife years later, what's been going on in this now 6+ unhealthy years and estrangement and being blocked from seeing, and it's just been chaos while my children have grown from her being a freshman in high school and him being in junior high all the way through their high school, and now with this kind of trauma and devastation. And I don't know how to handle this correctly.
Yeah. So the question for us is, what are you now to do with your relationship with your children?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we have none right now. It's very, very damaged.
Yeah.
Mark, have you ever worked on a very thoughtful and inclusive letter of disclosure and apology to your children for the ups and downs and the chaos in their life that pertain to your part in some of this? A lot of it does not have to do with you. Some of it does. Have you ever done that with them?
Right. I have admitted in my failures what I've identified. I don't get a chance to communicate with them since my time of the hospitalization time. Our communication has really, really changed, and I've felt very abandoned, and they have been going through what they have gone through, and it's so toxic right now.
Yeah.
I've said things that I've felt I've learned of what I did wrong, things that they did share with me that bothered them. I stopped doing those many, many years ago. We've been divorced for
So Mark,
a long, long time.
So you're not able to communicate with them right now. You're blocked. And so the question of how do you resolve this issue, this estrangement, it's really difficult. You have no access to them.
Right.
I would venture to guess that they have some desire or some question, even if they're being some desire to know you or see you or understand, or some question about why you're not in their life or why you can't be what they need you to be. That's just typical of kids who don't have their parents in their life. But sometimes it takes some maturing on their part and some other experiences, new relationships, for them to come to the point where they want to reconnect with the parent that they're estranged from. And something that I've seen be helpful is that you keep either a journal or, as Alice said, write a letter, and maybe write multiple letters. When you feel like talking to your kids, write them. When something's on your mind that you want to share with them, some lesson you want to teach them, write them a letter, or write it, date your journal, whatever that is, and write it. And that way, that when they do come around, you have that conversation to give to them, because you might not remember all those things down the road in a few years when they do invite you back into their lives. But I'm going to pray and be hopeful that that is going to happen. They're going to seek you out. They're going to pray to have you back in their life as you are getting healthier. They're some way going to see that if they have some proximity.
That's so true, because we carry our parents inside of us. And we have this, speaking to the first caller today, Carol, I was going to say, we have a comfort magnet inside of us that's drawn first and foremost to our parents, whether it's healthy or unhealthy.
Yeah. Even foster kids are going to want, even if they were in a dangerous place. Yeah. They might be with good, healthy foster parents, but they often desire a relationship with their bio parents.
And so, Mark, you want to play the long game, not the short game here. Yes. Win the long game. Your kids need you. They want you. And as your ex-wife is as dangerous and unhealthy as she is, eventually, even in her relationship with them, their behavior is going to tell on her. They're going to figure this out. And so I want you to, again, play that long game. we're actually going to send you a copy of the book Trust. And that helps give you this idea of what we need going forward. Thank you for being with us today, Mark. And we're going to be here for another program. So give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Again, thank you for listening today, and be well.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.